Today I'm going to show you a step-by-step tutorial on how I created these beautiful holiday garlands. You can use any color combination that you choose. I chose red, gold, and silver, and there is some specific techniques that I used in this video to create these beautiful arrangements of balls and picks. So we are going to get started, and you can check the link below for a list of materials needed. Okay, so we are making Christmas garlands today, and we purchased these garlands at a warehouse here in Miami, and they came directly from China. So right now we're working on, so I'm going to designate a back to the garland just by getting all of these branches out to the side. And the next step is we're going to put lights on it, and I'm going to show you how to do that. But right now I'm going to just kind of try to identify the lights, the branches that need lights. So when I'm fluffing my garland, I realize that there's two different kinds of branches here. And one of them is really fat and spiky and really thick, and this one is more thin. So I'm going to designate these branches, which are scattered throughout the garland, as the branches that are going to get the lights on them. So we're going to start that process, and I'll show you an up-close video of how to do that in just a little bit. Okay, so we have our garland here, and I've kind of pulled out the branches a bit so that the back side is flat. And I have these lights that we purchased for the garland. I need to make sure I have my tools handy, which is going to be a wire cutter. I'm going to use some zip ties, and these are, very skinny zip ties. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off these tags. This is just an optional step. And this light that we have has a flat section here at the beginning and in the middle and at the end. So to start, I'm going to zip tie this flat part to the back section. The garlands have one end that's flat like this and one end that's curved, and that's at the other end of this garland. And I'm not really going to worry about that too much because I'm going to use this as a hook end to hook it up. I'm going to go ahead and zip tie this. To the end there. Cut that as close as possible so it doesn't scratch me. And then the next step, very important, is we're going to plug in this sucker because it's really hard to light the garland if you can't see the lights. So the lights are in the back. I'm going to go ahead and bring them over to the front side of the garland here. And immediately you can see that I have my first branch here that needs lights. I'm going to start the light as close to the base as possible of this branch because the way that my lights are spaced, they're about 6 inches apart. By the time I go up, the light will be at the top. So I'm going to show you what that means. I'm going to wrap this branch with this light close to the base a couple times until I get to the next light up. And I'm going to make it as tight as possible so it's as close to the base of that branch. And I'm going to go back down. Then it gets a little easier as you go down because you're not working in tight space like this. I'm going to go and weave back and forth between those other branches, making a zigzag pattern so that I can get the light over to this next branch. So I'm going to do that another couple times. And I think I'm here at the base of this light, so I'm going to start wrapping it around my next branch. And I'm going to keep doing this throughout the garland. And here is my next one right here. And there's my next branch. So I'm going to wrap that one. And you can see this way, there's a light at the base and a light at the tip, so it brings the lights out so they're not all stuck here in the middle and they're not all super loose. There's different ways in doing this. This is the technique I'm using because of the kind of garland that I have. So we're going to keep working on this and I'll let you know how it's going in a little bit. So I've come to the end of a light strand here and I'm gonna cut off the tag, and there's a few fuses. I'm just gonna cut that off. And then, oh, this little guy doesn't wanna cut. Okay, and I'm gonna open my new string of lights. Have that ready, I'm gonna cut those tags as well. Okay, so now, we have the end of the lights, and we have this flat part here, which I'm going to hide in the back. And in order to do that, I'm aware I have one light here. I'm just going to wrap it around until that light comes to the front. And then I have this part in the back, which I'm going to go and leave loose and plug my new strand of lights in. You can see that I also have one here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of make a little loop, and I'm gonna do 2 zip ties, one here and one here, and that will hide my lights in the back, my plug in the back. All the way down to the base of the garland. And cut that down. Careful not to cut the lights. And then I'm ready to keep stringing until I get to the end of the garland here. The tricky part is we did four sets of lights all the way down. And when you get to the end, it gets a little bit tricky because sometimes, you know, you have to kind of space them out so that you have just enough. You might have a little less lights on one side. You might end up with extra and coming back and weaving them around. So we're going to keep going and then get to the next step.
Yes, okay. Okay.
So I have this really pretty ribbon, and I've gone ahead with some floral wire, and I've cut these wire pieces, and I've tacked the ribbon down every 12 inches or so. So what I'm doing now is I'm positioning the ribbon in just a scattered pattern just on top of the garland. And then when it looks just about right, and I try to be consistent with every single one of my garlands of how many that I'm doing and the spacing, because I'm doing 6 of them right now. So then, once you get them positioned where you want, I would take an ornament, and it can be any color ornament. Right now I'm going to do this glittery red one. And these ornaments have all been hot glued. The caps have been hot glued on there because they tend to pop off when you buy them at the store. So come a little closer if you can. I'm going to take this ornament, and because my wire here is so long, I'm going to feed my ornament through. And usually I'll start at the end, but I'm showing you this so you can see it a little bit easier. I'm going to twist it one time so that the ornament is on top. It covers that bow. And then what I do is I go all the way down to the base. I move these branches out of the way, and I attach it as near to the base as I can here. You can see I'm above this, but that's okay. So I just twist the wire like I normally would. a few times and wrap it around again, and I go all the way down so that I am certain that my ribbon is evenly distributed. So as you can see, I'm putting the ornaments in kind of an order of gold, silver, red, gold, silver, red. And I'm cutting the little hangers off as I get to them. This ornament has a little dent in it, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and use it anyway because it's going to get covered by the branches. You won't see that part. So again, I'm going to demonstrate this. I put the ornament through the wire and I wrap it around so it doesn't fall off. And then I'm separating the wire like this, and I'm going down to the base, just kind of eyeballing where the ribbon goes. It's a little cattywampus on here. And then I wrap it around the base and I hug it with the ribbon, or hug it with the wire. And then I take the wire and I just twist it around itself a couple times. And then I put them together and I wrap it back around the opposite way. And that way it's as close to the base as possible and it won't shake around or fall off. So we have a couple more ornaments left to put on this one, and then we're going to add ornaments in between all of these little ribbon ruffles. Okay. I need gold, a big gold. This one, I love this one. Huh? What was that?
Got your face in there.
It's okay.
That's an eyeball.
I love this one. This is so pretty. Some of these are so pretty. And I'll just place them kind of strategically around the light so that they glitter as much as possible. And they sparkle like crazy. And then I fluff these up just a bit, and you can't even tell that I wrap that around like that. Now I need another silver and another red. I think we're good. This is the step that you saw last, and what I'm doing is I am adding more ornaments and these picks to kind of fill up the empty space. So I'm going a little bit randomized, but I'm trying to avoid having multiple colors in the same spot. So I have a cluster of reds here, and that's great. I am gonna either do a red here or a small red here. Most likely I'll do a gold here. And I'm gonna show you how I add these bulbs here. So here I'm gonna do a double. I'm gonna add another large bulb because I have two different sizes. I'm gonna add, if you show behind me, I have all these ornaments just easily accessible, ready to go. I'm going to make this easier because normally I use this floral wire to attach the balls. But because I'm at a knot, and because I want these two balls to be side by side, I'm going to use a zip tie. And I'm going to go through the base of the one that's attached with the wire. And I'm going to go through the hole here. And then I am going to zip tie these two together. Okay. I always cut my zip ties right away because if not, I forget. And now I'm going to add like a red one somewhere over here. I try to add the balls, the ornaments, to a branch that does not have lights on it. And I try to attach them as far down to the base as I can. So I'm going to do a large red one, probably this matte red. I don't have another one around here close to that. And I'm going to, because I have this big one here, I'm going to probably add it, I don't know, right here. I try to do it somewhat random in order. So then I'm going to take a little piece of floral wire that's about 5 inches, and I'm going to put it on there. Not like a regular ornament. I'm going to make myself a little area where I can hug around the branch. So I'm going to go down to the base of the branch as far down as I can. And I'm just going to attach this. And then I take my excess and I kind of wrap it around the branch. And I can actually take this, and you see it's a little loose. I can take it and twist it a couple times, and it'll get it nice in the position where you want it. So that's good. I think I need to put another ball here somewhere. Probably right back here. I'm gonna try doing something silver with a lot of sparkle. I could do one of these mirror ones. I think that would be pretty right here. Okay. I'm going to cut that off. Add another ball. We're going to do it right here. Now it's really important to hot glue the tops of the ornaments on, because if you don't, when you start pulling on this wire a bit, they will just pop right off of there, and then it's really annoying. So this is pretty because all the lights are around it, and it adds a nice little mirror effect. Now I'm going to add the picks to fill in the extra blank space. So I have all these different assortments, and I'm going to use zip ties to attach these. And what I do is I just kind of shove the end here into the base so that you can't really see it. And then I'm going to zip tie it in a kind of inconspicuous spot. Can you see? I'm going to zip tie it close to the base. Now I don't have green zip ties, I have black zip ties, but that's okay because it's not really going to be that noticeable once it gets hung outdoors. And then cut that. And you can see that that is, and I attach it down to the low. It's down there, it's in there really good. And then I don't want it to look like it's sitting there on the branch, so I'll just twist the branch in another direction so it just looks like it's growing out of there. So that added a nice pretty pop of red here. I'm gonna do a couple more. I'm gonna do a gold coming from this right here. I'm gonna go right under there, just close to the base. And I just randomize the colors as best as I can, and I try to keep them fluid throughout. Okay, and we need another one here. Adjust these just a little bit. Oh, look, there's a great example of one. It wasn't glued very well, so now I have to repair that. So I'll just hot glue that and stick it right back in there in a little bit. But it happens sometimes. It takes practice and it takes patience. And I'm going to keep working my way down this way using those same techniques that I just showed you. And it's all going to look like this when it's done. I have these picks. They are actually just small ornaments on a pick, which is really convenient for what we're doing. And I don't remember where I found these exactly. So what I'm doing is taking clusters of 3, and I'm gonna add one of these picks to the center to give it a little bit of dimension. And then I'm gonna zip tie it at the base, and that way, because you can see here, they like to slide around. I'm gonna zip tie them so that they don't do that. It makes them much easier to work with. Okay. Got that on there good. I'm gonna cut this down. I'm gonna separate these so that there's two going in one direction and one going in the other direction. And I think the home for this guy is gonna go right here. So I'm just gonna set it right there. I'm gonna make another one over here with two. And I think I'm gonna do this guy, I think I'm gonna do him right there. I think that would be cute. And I'm also gonna add a gold cluster to this. I'm gonna zip tie these two together along with the gold pick. And same thing, I'm gonna separate. Now I'm gonna demonstrate with this one first because it's easier to see with the two. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick the pick down in there, and I try to get it weaved in with the base, and I can cut out the excess in the back. So I have one of the pick wires here and one of the pick wires here, and I am going to hug the center, the trunk of the garland where we zip tied the lights and everything. I'm gonna get as tight as I can back there, and I'm gonna twist those two wires around just a few times, and then I'm gonna come back up and around under those bulbs so that it secures those picks. And that's what we got there. You can adjust them, you can move them around, which is great. I think I'm gonna set them like that for now, and they are not going anywhere if you shake them. All right, so for this one over here, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use these two together and this one separate. So I'm going to stick the pick down in here, and then I think I'm gonna go on this side of the ornament here. It's always a good idea to have the garlands lit when you're doing the ornaments, so that way you can see the sparkle. All right, so I'm gonna flip it around so you can see here, and then I twist a few times, and then I go back up and around this way. And it adds extra texture and dimension when you add those different elements and the different colors like that. So I'm going to continue down. We are on the last garland, and I have to add a few more ornaments here and a few more of the picks, and we're done. Here we have the final product. Sophie was traumatized, and I don't